Norway is home to some of the most dramatic landscapes on Earth. Narrow inlets that slice deep into mountains. Sheer cliffs rising more than 1,000 meters above still blue water. And valleys so perfectly carved, they almost look artificial. These are fjords, and they are the fingerprints of ancient glaciers. Today, we're exploring how ice shaped a nation, and how Norway's stunning fjords were carved over millions of years. This is ORBIX, the world, mapped and explained. Before we understand how fjords formed, we first need to understand what a fjord is. A fjord is a deep, narrow coastal inlet with steep sides, usually created by glaciers. They're not rivers, they aren't typical valleys, and they don't form from oceans pushing inland. A true fjord is created when a massive glacier cuts a U-shaped valley, and then, after the glacier melts, the sea floods the valley from below. Norway has over 1,700 fjords, more than any other country on Earth. Long before glaciers existed, Norway looked very different. Tens of millions of years ago, the Scandinavian mountains were already forming, created by tectonic uplift as Greenland and Europe pulled apart. But these mountains were older, worn, and rounded, a landscape shaped by time, not yet carved by ice. Then the climate shifted, Earth entered its series of ice ages, and everything changed. Around 2.6 million years ago, temperatures across the northern hemisphere dropped. Snow fell in the high mountains of Norway, and never fully melted. Year after year, layers of snow compressed into ice, forming vast glaciers. These glaciers weren't like frozen lakes, they were massive, flowing rivers of solid ice. Some were over 1 kilometer thick, and under that kind of weight, glaciers begin to move, slowly, relentlessly downhill, and as they moved, they carved. A glacier is one of the most powerful natural forces on Earth. As it moves, it grinds rock beneath it, a process called glacial erosion. There are two main ways this happens. One, plucking glacial meltwater seeps into cracks in the rock below. It refreezes, expands, and breaks pieces of rock loose, which become frozen into the glacier. 2, abrasion. As the glacier slides forward, those rocks act like sandpaper, scraping the valley walls and floor. Over thousands of years, this transforms V-shaped river valleys into deep, smooth, U-shaped valleys. In Norway, glaciers carved some of the deepest on Earth. Fjord, Norway's longest, plunges 1,308 meters below sea level. That's deeper than most of the nearby mountains at all. This is why fjords look so dramatic. The glaciers that made them were enormous. But glaciers existed in many parts of the world. So why does Norway have so many fjords, while other cold regions do not? There are three main reasons. 1. Steep mountains close to the sea. Norway's mountains rise sharply from the coastline, giving glaciers a direct path to the ocean. 2. Deep valleys formed before the ice ages. Ancient tectonic fractures weakened the rock, giving glaciers natural channels to deepen. 3. Multiple ice cycles. Norway wasn't a T shaped by one glacier, but by dozens of glacial advances and retreats over millions of years. Each one carved the land even deeper. Together, these forces created the coastline we recognize today. About 10,000 years ago, the most recent ice age ended. Temperatures rose, glaciers melted and retreated inland. And something dramatic happened. The sea flooded the U-shaped valleys. Every fjord you see today is the result of this moment, when ocean water filled the empty spaces glaciers left behind. Many fjords are so deep that the seafloor lies below continental shelf depth. Fjord extends over 200 kilometers into the country. Norway's coastline changed forever. Norway's fjords have several features that make them globally unique. Hanging valleys, smaller glaciers joined larger ones, creating waterfalls that plunge hundreds of meters into fjords. Sheer 90-degree cliffs, carved by glaciers, hundreds of meters thick. Deep basins, some fjord floors are deeper than the North Sea outside them. Skerries and islands. Glacial retreat left behind thousands of islands along the coast. Together they form one of the most dramatic coastlines on Earth. Norway may be the most famous home of fjords, but it's not the only one. Similar glacial landscapes exist in New Zealand, Milford Sound, Chile, Patagonian fjords, Alaska, Tracy Arm, Canada, British Columbia's inlet forests, Greenland, some of the world's largest glacier-filled fjords. But Norway's combination of depth, drama, and accessibility makes it unique. Today, Norway's glaciers are retreating again, this time due to modern climate change. Some glaciers that once fed famous fjords have shrunk dramatically in just decades. The valleys and landscapes will continue to evolve, just as they have for millions of years. But the fjords themselves, those deep, ancient scars carved by ice, they will remain. A reminder of Earth's power, a record of its history, and some of the most breathtaking landscapes on the planet. Thanks for watching ORBIX, the world mapped and explained. If you enjoyed this geography deep dive, subscribe for more stories behind the landscapes that shape our planet.